Welcome to WHW Monday. Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson.
Jim Crockett First Arcade, 605 NWA. TV title, Cajun Omni, the Bunkhouse Stampede. Flair and Horseman, Garvin, Bogey, Magnum, Dusty, Express Tag Team. Turner, Bond, and Mid-South Joint World Championship Wrestling.
Talking about the great years of World Championship Wrestling, the NWA, and Jim Crockett Promotions.
Tony and friends north they win. Look, Schiavone's back again. World title split off center stage. Bischoff, Disney, Hogan, and Nitro. New World Order and the Crow. Thunder, Russo, Arquette Champ, Vinnie Mac, simulcast. Tony's back with Conrad, not your classy podcast. Watch along, try not to laugh. Lowest rules can't pass. This wasn't the initial plan. Tom Zigg's a good-looking man. Klondike Bill, make a tip. Tommy, you come over here.
What happened when? WHW Monday. And now, let's go to the ring. And here's your co-host. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? With the voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
Well, we are back together again for the first time in a couple of weeks, coming to you as live if you're with us here on a Sunday morning, and also with us on a Wednesday as well, or a Monday. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Man, better than I deserve. Excited to be with you today because we're picking up where we left off. Some old school WCW. Of course, at this time, it's still the NWA. It's still Jim Crockett Promotions, and we are marching towards, as fun as this is, WrestleMania 4 and a Clash of the Champions, a special that's going to be head-to-head for free. Man, you guys are knee-deep in this WWF versus Jim Crockett Promotions war. I mean, I guess it goes back to the sabotage of Starrcade in 87. Then there was the Bunkhouse Stampede. And man, we're competing. And now they're going to have their biggest event of the year, WrestleMania. And somebody on your side of the fence says, shit, let's belly up to the bar. Let's go head to head on free TV. And Clash of the Champions was born. This is a fun time for wrestling, is it not?
This was a time where we kind of punched back, I guess, because of what happened, because the sabotage of Starrcade. It was a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, when this show airs, basically on Saturday, the 26th of March, the Clash of the Champions is the very next day.
That's right.
Also on this show, we have some very, very good promos. JJ Dillion cuts one of his best ever. Paul Bosch is on this program.
How about that?
How about that? And this, as Dave Silva had listed for us, Dusty Goes Wild. It's based on Magnum TA, who was obviously injured, had been injured for a couple of years now, almost a couple of years. Got involved in the fray with Tully Blanchard, and Dusty had seen enough. It was really a very, very real angle and very good, and it was the cornerstone of the show. So this is good stuff. It's a great show, great lead in. And Sting is going to wrestle. Going to see Sting wrestle on this program. The interviews got very, very serious when Dusty did what he did. It was good stuff.
We should mention too, Paul Bosch had recently, just the year prior, been quote unquote bought out by Vince McMahon, and they did like a Paul Bosch memorial or tribute show where Vince footed the bill. Paul kept all the cash. Bruce, of course, has left Houston, decided not to come to work for Jim Crockett Promotions, and instead is going to work for Vince McMahon. And there's some hurt feelings between Bruce and Paul and Vince and Paul. And now he's going to be on this program. A lot to unpack here. It's going to be a lot of fun. And tonight, as you're watching this, AEW Dynamite is going to have a match that caught a lot of people off guard. I have been fortunate enough to see Vikingo live and in living color, as they say. I saw him at a television taping for AAA last year, but I was even there when he wrestled Rey Fenix at Triple Mania in Mexico City. The guy is unbelievable. Clearly the biggest star in Mexico, and he's coming to AEW tonight. A lot of people think that Vikingo is the next big thing. much like Will Ospreay or Kenny Omega or Okada, guys like that before him. He's got a lot of buzz, and he's making his American television debut tonight against Kenny Omega. And of course, there's a bunch of tribalism and idiots online who are like, well, I don't know who that is. Well, you didn't know who anybody was until they were on TV, you dumbass. Yeah. And they're on TV tonight. And if you've been fortunate enough to see anything from Vikingo, you know what a special opportunity this is for him and for Lucha Libre, for Kenny Omega, and for AEW. I'm pumped tonight, man. This is going to be one hell of a show for y'all.
Cannot wait for it. Kenny Omega is back 100%. He looks great. I'm glad Kenny is now going to be wrestling in singles competition more than, in trios competition. I think that's great for him. It's great for us. I'm really, really excited about this match, being able to call this match. So it's going to be, it's going to be a lot of fun. I love when you say, and of course I don't read the stuff online, but people say, I don't know who that is. I love when people express their ignorance.
I mean, listen, you could Google it, you lazy simpleton motherfucker.
Exactly.
But the reality is this: you didn't know who Jon Moxley was before he debuted with the Shield. You didn't know who Kenny Omega was before he was on TV. Like, you fall in love with these characters when you see them. And if you're tuning in thinking, well, maybe Vikingo is going to cut a Rock or Stone Cold level promo. Well, that's not what he does, baby. You want to know what he does? Watch tonight and you'll find out. It's going to be special.
You know what? If you're a tribalism type dick, don't.
Watch tonight.
No, go have sex with your sister.
Oh, wow.
Like you
that escalated.
Do.
Wow. All right.
Okay.
Listen, let's talk about two other things. I know we don't normally talk about current stuff, but history was made this past weekend. AEW ran their first house show, Tony. And I mean, I guess that's a little disingenuous. There was one ran way back when in Jacksonville, at Daly's place, but this is different. We're on the road. So it's an away game. And, I know you didn't get a chance to attend the show, but I'm sure you heard about it. And it looked like people had a blast, and Moxley was bleeding and Darby was tagging with, Orange Cassidy. And man, it was a happening.
A lot going on, a lot of excitement. And as we announced last week, we are going to have another one in Calgary at the Stampede in the summertime.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And
we're going to spend a lot of time in Canada this summer.
Did I ever make you watch Canadian Stampede, the WWF pay-per-view from July of 97?
No, we should watch it.
You should go out of your way to watch that main event. It's the hottest crowd maybe in the history of wrestling, Tony.
Well, why don't we put it up? Why don't we, how long's the show?
We can do it. We'll do it. You know what? We'll do it before. We'll have Silva make a note. We'll watch it before you guys run that house show. This year.
That'll be good.
That'll be good. Well, listen, let's get to it. We want you guys to fire up your Peacock and watch along with us. This is a really special show. We want you to pull it up right now. It's season 4, episode 13, March 26, 1988, season 4, episode 13. Tony, you got it all dialed up on your side?
Yeah, I got it all dialed up on our side. I want to say hello to a couple of people who have joined us. Obviously, Coach Rosie is here.
Come on now. What's up, Coach? Good morning to you.
Yeah, and we did have Coach Keith Morrison here. I don't know if Elkin Botero is here. John Henney is here. We appreciate all those. I don't know if Coach Morrison's still here or not. He may be asleep by now. Josh Fields is here. I love you, Coach. Let's see. And we'd like to say hello to everybody who's joined us live. So there you go.
Yeah, we should mention that when you sign up over at patreon.com/WHW Monday, you get to watch along live with us. You become a part of our live studio audience. It's one of the perks of being a member of the WHW Patreon or the ad-free shows Patreon. But oftentimes when Rampage is taped, Tony, you'll actually jump on and do a watch along on the WHW Patreon, right?
Yeah, that's we did not do one this past week because it was so late, and we're not going to do one again until I believe April 14th, because next Friday we have a taping of Dark and Universal on a Friday night. The following Friday, I'm going to be in LA for the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. The following Friday we are in Rhode Island for a live event, a live rampage. So it won't be until the 14th when we'll be able to do it again. So there.
Well, we're having a lot of fun. Greatly appreciate all you guys do for us. Thank y'all for riding shotgun with us. And I think we got a special countdown. Is that normally what we do around this time, Tony?
Yeah, we're going to go and dive into one again by our buddy DJ Turn Up. Ready?
I'm ready.
DJ Turn Up!
Well, I haven't properly warmed up. Hang on a second. Let me warm up here. Sunday. I feel better now.
I really did expect when you're saying you hadn't properly warmed up, it was going to sound like, gawk, 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 gawk. I didn't hear that at all. Tony Reed's rap.
Should have known.
Yes. The fans are crying for the sickle. And I think he's going to give it to him. Oh, no.
Oh.
Watch it. This is what's going to happen. Nailing to the floor. The Russian sickle. The sickle. Oh, yes. Nikita Koloff puts him down.
Tony, listen, I'm all for a lariat, but can we agree the Russian sickle at times was just not a finisher?
No. When it first started,
It was amazing.
it was awesome.
That what we just saw, not as awesome.
No, not as awesome.
Yeah.
We either...
Oh, look at this.
Is on the air. Hi, everybody. Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, and David Crockett ringside with World Championship Wrestling. Glad you could join us. Nikita Koloff. We saw him at the top of the 2-hour program here today. Nikita Koloff, as Dusty Rhodes told us just a couple of weeks ago, coming back bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. The Jim Crockett Jr. Memorial Cup just around the corner for the Superpowers, but also here tomorrow, 4 o'clock, the Clash of the Champions.
Tomorrow, we're on the eve of the Clash of Champions, and on the eve of the Clash of Champions here on TBS, many of the dignitaries in the world of professional wrestling, like the legendary promoter Paul Bosch down the NWA board of directors, will be here. Peter Burkholz, the promoter in Houston, will be here. I understand Rob Garner, David, of the Wrestling Network, here as well. A lot of big announcements about the Crockett Cup. And of course, we're all very excited about tomorrow.
That's right. Tomorrow you're going to find out the top 10 seeds in the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup. Remember, that's 4 o'clock tomorrow. Clash of the Champions.
Eastern time, the Clash of the Champions. Also here with us today, Magnum TA.
Right.
Also, always good to see Magnum TA back with us.
You're going to see Magnum TA, many of the teams that we're sure that you will see in the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup. We've got some very exclusive interviews with like the Four Horsemen and several men that will be involved in tomorrow night's event. Gentlemen, I think we've said it all.
Go to the ring.
Let's go to the ring.
Man, what'd you think of that 3-man team? You, JR, and Mr. David Crockett.
Well, at first it was kind of uncomfortable because, David and I were so used to working with each other.
Yep.
But Jim really fit in so well and attempted to fit in so well. You know, he knew that David and I had been working together for a long time. He didn't try to be overbearing. I think I really enjoyed it much more than David did, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah. That's just a feeling I got. And, eventually David was relegated to just doing interviews.
Right.
And Jim and I were doing the commentary. So that was my feeling. I got that feeling by working with him. David never did say, I don't like Jim being here. but I just got that feeling.
Got 3 Hall of Famers in the ring right here. The Bushwhackers wrestling here as the Sheep Herders, and Teddy Long as our referee. On the outside, who would have thought he would go on to be one of the most powerful men in wrestling at one point?
Right.
And at this point, nobody would have called it. He was quote unquote Animal's little brother.
I know.
Johnny Ace is on the outside. Man, I got to tell you, the presentation difference between the bloodthirsty Sheep Herders and the lovable, affable Bushwhackers. But this is Bushwhacker gear. I mean, what they're wearing right now is what we would see them wear more often than not in the WWF. This exact same look, like the gray camo and the idea that there's 2 versions of that personality, that's pretty cool.
And if you think about it, I knew of obviously of the Sheep Herders.
Right.
And then when they became the Bushwhackers, I thought, boy, that's not going to work. But damn, it did, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
I mean, that was obviously a Vince creation, and he did a great job with it. He knew, man. He really knew what worked and what didn't.
Speaking of what works and what doesn't, we should mention that AEW has shows coming up in St. Louis, Long Island, Rhode Island, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, and this past Friday, St. Patrick's Day, tickets went on sale for double or nothing. It's Sunday, May 28th. You can even pick up tickets for that Dynamite and Rampage the Wednesday before in Las Vegas. Yeah. It's all at AEWTIX.com. I mentioned all this because Tony Schiavone is going to be at all those shows. So show up and show some support for Schiavone, and why not rock some of our LoisRules.com gear? I know it tickles you whenever somebody has a Lois Rules sign in the crowd, or you see some of your shirts. It's crazy to think that, you know, our nostalgia podcast is maybe bringing some people to check out what you're doing these days. And it's just fun to see it all come full circle, not just for you, but for fans as well.
I looked on the Pro Wrestling Tees website just yesterday, and I was looking for some shirts for some of my friends. And of course, you do the click in the drop down menu, and their list is podcast. You click on podcast, and you see up top the top selling podcast, and ours one of them, merchandise wise, of all the wrestling podcasts. And believe you me, there are more wrestling podcasts in the world now than you can shake a fucking stick at.
Yes.
Oh my God. Everybody's got one.
By the way, that happened fairly quickly, Tony, because I think you know that we donated all of our money last year to St. Jude's. So every nickel of merch money that we would have normally generated through our podcast network, I mean every nickel, went directly to St. Jude's. You know, listen, we probably should have addressed this at the top of the show, but as you mentioned, you were traveling last week. It was kind of a crazy week, so we had to call an audible, and it's been a minute since we got to sit down. But since you and I sat down last, a wrestling tragedy befell our little wrestling bubble. Somebody we think a lot of, Mr. Arn Anderson, the real life Marty Lundy, he and his lovely wife, Erin, suffered a loss that is beyond words. And their oldest son, Barrett, passed away at just 37 years old. You've known Arn and Erin for a long, long time. I know you had an opportunity to meet Barrett as well. And boy, that's just something you never hope any parent has to deal with.
It really hit close to home because we knew Barrett.
Yes.
Barrett was 11 days older than Chris Schiavone.
Wow.
And that really hit home for us. I was very fortunate. I want to thank Dean Malenko for this. Dean and I attended the funeral. We flew from Winnipeg the next morning, had a 5 a.m. flight from Winnipeg on Thursday, and connected through the world's worst airport in Toronto, and then landed in Charlotte about 1:20 and made it to the funeral, which was 2:00.
Wow.
And got there a little late, but we're able to attend the funeral, and we're able to go afterwards because they had a luncheon for all the people who were close to Arn. That was hosted by Ashley, Charlotte Flair, and her husband, Andrade. And Ashley was very close to Barrett.
Yes.
They grew up together, and very, very close. So it was very, very tough for her. So I was able to hang out with Arn and Brock and obviously Aaron. And I have to say that it was obviously very, very sad, but it's kind of hard to say this in a way, but we did have a very nice time afterwards. We really did. Got to talk, and we all had a very good time getting together. And Arn said something. Fit Finley was there. Terry Taylor was attended. Tommy Young and the Barbarian attended. How about that? And let's see, Barry Darsow was there. I saw Bobby Eaton's son. Trying to think who else was there. I think I said Barry Darsow. And Arn said something to me and Fit and Dean Malenko. He said, you know what? He said, this kind of opens your eyes about life and about staying in touch. He said, as friends, we need to stay in touch more.
Yeah.
And he's right. He is absolutely right. We kind of let our job and our life move on, and it moves on quickly, as we all know, the older you get. And we just need to stay in touch and stay close to our family. So it's one of those moments that brings us together. It's a moment you don't want to have to bring us together, but it does. Very terrible tragedy. And my heart goes out to my good friend Arn, who's a wonderful human being.
Well said. I can't imagine how tough it is for the family. And I know that Reed and Ashley and Barrett sort of all grew up together, 3 peas in a pod, for all the holidays and Christmases and all that. And it's just awful, man. You just hate to see it. And, you know, Rick talks all the time about, you know, the loss of Reed. And as crazy as this is, it happened the same month as the 10-year anniversary of Reed passing away.
Yeah. And
the idea that you had these two lifelong best friends both lose their sons very, very early and in the same month, it's like, my goodness. And Rick's been honest about saying, man, you never really get over it. You just learn how to deal with it. Yeah. Right. But there's no getting over it. And I just, I don't have the words. You know what, we run our mouth for a living here on this program, but my word factory sort of shuts down in times like these, because I can't say, oh, I know how you're feeling. I don't. But I know it sucks. I can imagine it sucks, but like, I don't know what to say other than to say that, boy, we sure do love and care about Arn and Aaron and Brock, and hope that they're doing as good as they can right now.
I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine. It's a very strong family, and Arn Anderson is an oddity in wrestling.
Yes.
And here's why I say that. He and Aaron have been married a long, long time. You don't see that in pro wrestling.
Same house, same wife, same family, same job. There was a stretch where, you know, he was never without a job in wrestling. I mean, once he got in, he was continually employed in wrestling, no gaps. Like that and living in the same house and married to the same woman. That's unusual.
Yeah.
Speaking of unusual, here's Mr. Crockett with Mr. Wyndham and Mr. Luger. Let's listen.
Are they going to win the World Tag Team title, guys? What do you think?
That's right. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, the 27th, the World Tag Team Championships are up on the line. Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson have finally decided to give us the title match that we wanted. And this is it. This is our chance to win the gold, the thing that we've been after, that we've been out here ranting and raving about for the last 3.5 months. Lex Luger and I are ready, and we're going to do it on the afternoon of the 27th.
All right, Lex.
You know, David, I can almost feel it. I can almost taste it. The excitement in the air. National TV, TBS, all the eyes in the world of professional wrestling will be on us. The World Tag Team belts on the line. Barry and myself, Blanchard and Anderson. It's time to put up or shut up. We've had a lot of support from these fans all across the country. I think like a better time to reward them is tomorrow night on TBS at 4 o'clock to become the new World Heavyweight Champions. And then, Barry Wynn and myself are after the doubleheader, because in the Crockett Cup, there is $1 million. There are tag teams from all over the world, the very best in wrestling. Me and Barry are going to enter there as the World Tag Team Champions. And it wouldn't be a better thing to walk away with as the new Crockett Cup champions as well. The month of April could be a very big month for the tag team of Wyndham and Luger. Because it just doesn't get. What can I say? We're better than this, baby. Yeah, Wyndham and Luger. We're going for it all, baby.
All right. The whole world is watching the Superstation TBS and the NWA. More action to come right after this.
Tony, they're going to take a break, so we will too. I'm going to stop it down at 42. There it is, 13 minutes, 42 seconds. Press pause, and we're taking this time out to talk about something that's a big deal in wrestling and now in wrestling podcasts. Blading. That's right. Henson shaving. We want to show you how to not get some color. Serious business. I love this product so much. I can't wait to tell you about Henson shaving. Much like my business, this is a family-owned aerospace parts manufacturer. And I know what you're thinking. Wait, what? Yeah. These folks have made parts for the International Space Station and the Mars rover, and now they're bringing that precision engineering to your doggone face. You see, razor blades are like diving boards. The longer the board, the more the wobble. The more the wobble, well, the more nicks and cuts and scrapes. You see, a bad shave isn't a bad blade problem. It's an extension problem. But what Henson does is they use their aerospace grade CNC machines to make metal razors that are just 0.0013 inches. That's less than the thickness of a human hair, and it means a more secure and stable blade with a vibration-free shave. And it gets better. The razor even has built-in channels to evacuate hair and cream. It makes clogging virtually impossible. What I like best about Henson shaving, though, is that they want the best razor, not the best razor business. Let me explain. This is a real razor. When you hold this in your hand, you're going to think this is a razor that will last the rest of my life, because it will. That means there's no plastic on it, and there's no gimmicky subscriptions I'm going to tell you about. There's no proprietary blades, and there's no planned obsolescence. You see, the Henson razor works with a standard dual edge blade that gives you that old school feel, but because these are so thin at 0.0013 inches, it gives you all the benefit of new school tech. Now, I have to admit, I loved the way this felt. We vet all of our products before we talk about them here on the program.
Sure do.
But I didn't know what they cost. But I bragged about this razor enough to my dad at the office that he said, "Okay, son, shit, I'll get one. What's the promo code?" So I went and typed it in. I was shocked at the price because I knew that it's only $3 to $5 a year to replace the blades. That's worth saying again. How much do you spend when you go down to the drugstore and they keep it behind lock and key, right? It's like $20 or more. It's so valuable, they lock it up. And that's going to last you what? A month? 2 months? This is $3 to $5 a year. So I thought to myself, that means the actual razor must be very expensive. It is not. This is not only better than what you've been doing, it's also cheaper, much cheaper. It's time to say no to subscriptions and yes to a razor that will last you a lifetime. Visit hensonshaving.com/WHW to pick the razor for you and use the code WHW. You'll get 2 years worth of blades free with your razor. Just make sure to add them to your cart. That's 100 free blades when you head to hensonshaving.com/WHW and use the code WHW. Tony, you've had a Henson razor. What do you think, man?
When I first started with a Henson razor, I'm thinking, you know what, these old double-edged blades, I remember nicks and cuts, but man, this is the smoothest shave because the blades are locked in place.
Yes.
And go to the store. Do this week. Go to the store and price razor blades.
Yeah.
And price razors.
Yes.
And see how much they cost.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. And you could, right now, it's $5 a year in blades.
What?
What is right?
That shouldn't be. But I'm telling you, man, I have to admit, I was a little intimidated by this because I'm used to having, well, it's got 17 blades and an aloe vera strip and it's plastic. And that's what I've grown up with. But now I use this thing and I'm like, man, can I handle this? Because this feels like something my handsome ass grandfather used to carry around. And then you see the actual blades. And first of all, you won't believe how thin they are. I mean, it is crazy, but still I'm like, wait a minute. This is like the blades that, you know, the Bowies use. Am I supposed to carry this in my lip or in my wrist tape? And then once I get it in there and I lock it in, I'm like, okay, well, here goes nothing. And Holy cow, man. Like the way it cuts, the way it glides, there's nothing like it. This is a lifetime product for me, whether they advertise or not. Most of what I've rambled on about is not even in the copy. It's just the way I feel. My barber uses one. I keep one at the office. My dad's got one. You're going to love it. Go right now to hensonshaving.com and use the promo code WHW. Just see how affordable it is. You're going to buy one razor for the rest of your life. And then it's $3 to $5 a year for blades. That's it. It's crazy.
That's it.
So let's get back to the program here. We're at 13 minutes and 42 seconds. We are watching season 4, episode 13, 1342. And I'll count us in here in 3, 2, 1, play.
Okay, fans, back on the Superstation. Very happy to have Mr. Rob Gardner, member of the NWA Board of Governors, the Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup Tag Team Tournament. Rob, right around the corner, and I know you have some big announcements for us.
Tony, the 2014 field has just been completed with the additional signings of tag teams from Japan and Mexico. Also, on April 22nd in Greenville, South Carolina that night, besides seeing all 24 teams, there's a special Prince of Darkness match with Kevin Sullivan against gorgeous Jimmy Garvin.
Okay.
Now, the next night in Greensboro, North Carolina, of course, are the finals of the Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup, and the world champion will be defending his title.
Can you feel her breathing down your neck, Robert?
Absolutely.
I guarantee I won't like us in Dallas, but when the show's over tonight, you and I, and this beautiful young lady, Patty Mullen, the pet of the year, she's got girlfriends all over the world, and we're going to take Greensboro apart tomorrow night. You understand what I'm talking about? Tomorrow night, after Ric Flair successfully defends the World Heavyweight Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, as ludicrous as it might be, they have set this up to have 3 judges. That's right, 3 judges outside the ring, just in case Sting is fortunate enough to wrestle me the entire 60-minute time limit. So what do? You know me to be a man way beyond his means in every department. I said to myself, what kind of a judge do I know beyond a shadow of a doubt will rule in favor of the nature boy? So I look around the country, and who's available? The most beautiful woman on the face of this earth, the pet of the year. Patty Mullen flies right in, in the Learjet, into Greensboro. She's going to be styling. Oh, Tony, get close to this, baby. And profiling is only she can do. And I want everybody in Greensboro, I'm talking about all you punks that think you've been somewhere with a woman and never have been, to look at what the nature boy is standing next to you. How about this? Tony, talk to her, brother. She's not only good looking, she can talk all night long. Woo!
It must be quite a thrill being right here with the world champion and being part of the big event tomorrow.
Oh, it is. I'm looking so forward to it.
Oh, God.
Oh, you can't beat that, can you?
Imagine that. Sting, you know how I like to show off. I'm the kind of guy that likes to tell you how it is. And when I've got something, like Patty Mullen, standing 10 feet from me, you know for a fact, Luger, you gotta be beside yourself. You and that punk Barry Windham out there, when she saw you pop that shirt, Luger, 5 minutes ago, she said, nature boy, Luger's a lot like that punk Sting. They think that running around doing this does it for women like myself. It doesn't, guys. They like clothes. They like airplanes. They like limousines. They like men of the world. Oh, baby. Tomorrow, Greensboro, woo! The nature boy will ride high in the skies. Tony, you be there. She got a friend for you too, pal.
That's good to know. Let's go to the ring.
That's good to know is a new shirt available now at loisreels.com. Patty Mullen, by the way, this is real, was a pet of the month in 1986, but in January of 1988, that January 88 issue, she was indeed on the cover and named the Penthouse Pet of the Year. And there you see the cover.
Hanging on to those things, isn't she?
Well, listen, you might be saying to yourself, why is she on this program? Well, because she was trying to move into the mainstream, and she had a 1990 movie. Do you remember the name of this movie, Tony? Did you keep up with her career?
No, I did not, but you have updated me on what the name of the movie was, so go ahead.
Well, let's go ahead and share it with everyone now. In 1990, she had the starring role in Frankenhooker. I'm not making this up.
No.
Silva's going to go ahead and throw up the movie poster here so you can see it. Yeah. There was a movie made that was released just 2 years after this called Frankenhooker.
Yeah.
And Patty Mullen was in that. Look at there.
There you go. Yeah.
The Terrifying Tale of Sluts and Bolts.
Okay.
Not nuts and bolts, you see.
Yeah.
How do you think a movie like that gets made?
They just get a little bit of money from porn and they go ahead and make a movie about it.
Porn?
That's porn. Frankenhooker. Come on, it's got to be.
No, it's not
a porn movie?
No, it's a horror movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Seriously.
Right. Frankenhooker sounds like a porn title to me.
Well, she was also in Doom Asylum.
Okay. You know what? That she was with Flair right there. I don't know. She didn't do anything for me. Sorry.
Well, maybe she should have put the bolts on. And then it's Frankenhooker. You might have been into it. You don't know.
Well, sometimes they say strap it on. Maybe she bolted it on. I don't know.
There you go. There's Frankenhooker. You think he could have got with that? That looks like Lois when you woke up with jalapenos in your head or something. Yeah. You did what? Yeah. You vomited in the tub? You did what?
Oh, that's too good. Hey,
we're talking over Al Perez here, by the way.
Yeah. Love Gary Hart. Gary Hart was working for us and still booking in Texas in World Class at one time.
Yeah.
And still showed up on our TVs. I think that was like when I first started, like 85, the first Starcade, or 83, the first Starcade, the early 80s. But here he's back. I love Gary Hart. Great talker. Really great mind for the business. He was really cool. And liked Al Perez, too. I don't think Al Perez... I mean, look how he was a very handsome guy.
No, he should have been a bigger star. I mean, why not take a run at Sting and work the main events? But he didn't want to be the Black Scorpion. He thought he was hurt his career. So
yeah,
we know how that worked out.
Yeah. Also, this program is getting ready to turn very serious pretty soon.
Yeah, I think Paul Bosch is coming up next after Al Perez dispenses Alan Martin. Before we talk about all that, though, I do want to ask about Rob Garner.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing much of him on this program. What do you remember of Rob?
Rob worked for WBTV radio and was a salesman. He worked with Jim Crockett's wife, and they worked for WBT. I think worked for WBTV. I think worked for television.
So that whole NWA board is just straight bullshit.
Yeah, of course it is.
I was like, I don't remember hearing that name ever. That's got to be a make-believe deal.
And Rob left selling time for radio and television to come to work for Jim Crockett and the Wrestling Network to sell time for that. And Rob ended up, when the sale went down, ended up working in Atlanta.
They're taking a commercial. We're going to keep it going. The spinning heel hook or spinning toe hold or whatever it is was the submission. Different era. That as a submission today would not work. But back then, you could get away with shit like that.
Sure.
Speaking of getting away with stuff, look at this.
Back, and we're very, very honored and very pleased to have Mr. Paul Bosch, member of the NWA Board of Governors, with us. Peter Burkholz is with us, and Mr. Bosch, great to have you out here. Houston, Texas, one of the hottest spots, probably the hottest place for professional wrestling in the world, especially the NWA.
Well, I think that the NWA finds good fans wherever they appear because they go back to the basics of wrestling, and they go beyond that to a point that pleases people. And I've been connected with the NWA since about 1947 when it was first formed. And I find that right now is a good time for the NWA as it was then. And Peter Burkholz here is here to represent Houston wrestling. I'm here because I'm visiting with the NWA.
And Peter, they say the hottest place to be on a Friday night is the Sam Houston Coliseum, and I know that May 13th, another big event comes to the Sam Houston Coliseum.
That's correct, Tony. The tradition's back in Houston, Texas. Friday, May 13th, Sam Houston Coliseum, the NWA, another tremendous card, maybe one of the biggest cards in Houston wrestling history. The World's Heavyweight Champion has signed, and every day, Tony, more stars in NWA are making their commitment. Friday, May 13th, Houston, Texas. We're excited about it.
And I know the NWA is very excited about it too, Mr. Bosch. I tell you what, the Fantastics are coming out, and it's an honor for me to be out here with you because not only in promotions but as an announcer.
I was going to say that about you.
Well, I appreciate that. Please stay with me because I can't pass up the chance of having you at the microphone
I'd
with me
appreciate
for this next match.
Thank
okay,
you.
Paul Bosch will be with us. Let's go to the ring.
So the Fantastics are going to be taking on Steve Atkinson and Gene Ligon here. But Paul Bosch was very careful to say, Peter is here on behalf of Houston Wrestling. I am here visiting for the NWA. Because, of course, there's some bad blood on that side of the fence in the WWF. I mean, just a year prior on Mr. Bosch's TV, they were showing almost week after week that fantastic WrestleMania 3 match between Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage. They showed it on their Houston TV just over and over and over. And now a year later, here they are on your TV. You guys are going to start running shows there every month, May and June and July and I think August, but certainly September. So it became a deal where you guys were working together. And I appreciated that you were saying, boy, it's an honor to be out here. In reality, had you ever even seen Houston wrestling? Did you know about Bosch beyond the magazines?
No.
Yeah.
I knew Peter Burkholz was, I believe, his nephew.
Yeah. A mealy mouth motherfucker, according to Bruce Pritchard.
Okay. Okay. Was his nephew. And that was obviously the first time I met him. But you also know that I think maybe less than a year later, Paul would be dead.
Yeah. He died in 89, I believe.
Yeah. I think of a heart attack. And here's what I remember about Paul Bosch's death. And I don't know if Bruce will even tell you that. Bruce went back to Houston to the funeral, which I was told. And I was told this, that Bruce was, once he got to Houston, was not allowed to go to the funeral because of the bad blood that existed.
Yeah, it hurt Bruce's feelings. I mean,
yeah, that's terrible.
Bruce, when he finally got to be on the cover of the WWF magazine as Brother Love, he mailed a copy to Mr. Bosch, and Mr. Bosch scratched out on the outside of the envelope and wrote "Return to Sender" and sent it right back. But what's crazy is if you go to Bruce's house now, he's got a little home studio where we do our podcast, and then he's got like a formal office outside of it. And literally everything in there, floor to ceiling, is Paul Bosch and Houston wrestling. Like in Bruce's professional life, there have been two sort of work dads, two mentors, two guys who deserve all the credit for his success. And it's Paul Bosch and Vince McMahon in that order.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of his life, Mr. Bosch felt like, Bruce had abandoned him and turned his back. But the reality is Mr. Bosch was selling out and getting out of the business. And Bruce had an opportunity to continue to pursue his dreams. And obviously the WWF is still running strong. And I'm sure Bruce has no regrets in that regard with his decision, but I'm sure he wished that, things were better between him and Mr. Bosch. Now, ultimately they were with Paul's widow. I mean, Paul's widow she felt horrible about the way everything had gone down with Bruce and him. And, she wasn't as attached to the wrestling business and didn't take it as personally as Mr. Bosch did. But, it sucks. It's one of those things. Yeah. And you hate to hear those type of stories, but they exist.
Yeah. And I had heard that we hear so many things that Nick Bockwinkel was the one that told Bruce, "You're not allowed at the funeral." I don't know what that means, has anything to do with anything, but I remember hearing that. And I thought, wow, that's terrible. Because, you know, I know we work for competing companies.
Yes.
But I mean, Bruce, I consider Bruce a friend. Always have.
Absolutely.
Bruce and I have been, you know, he was my boss, and he and I have been very good. I don't see enough of him. But that's just the way it is. He's
been a little under the weather.
Well, you know, he's old now.
He is old, and
he's in his 60s. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's 60 years old. Who would have thunk it?
I sent him a text. I said, welcome to 60, you old fucker. And I think the response was, and I have it on my phone, but I'm not looking at it. The response was, thank you, Grandpa.
I love that.
Yeah. So, yeah, 60 years old. There you go. 60.
We should mention that in this era, the top movies in the world were Good Morning Vietnam, Moonstruck,
whoa,
Frantic, and something that I liked as a kid, 3 Men and a Baby.
Yeah.
How about that?
Oh, how about that? How time flies. Jeez. Doesn't seem like those movies are that long ago.
Of course, we should remind everybody, as this program started and went on the air, Ric Flair's the world champion. Tully and Arn are the tag champs. You just heard Lex Luger and Barry Windham talking about challenging them. Dusty is the U.S. champion. Stay tuned. And Mike Rotundo is the television champion. And one day from this is that iconic very first ever Clash of the Champions. It's going down in Greensboro. It's going to be like 6,000 folks there. We got Flair and Sting on top. Of course, we all know that's where we quote unquote make Sting with that main event opportunity. Arn and Tully versus Luger and Windham. Dusty and the Road Warriors versus Paul Jones' Army in a barbed wire match on TBS, no less. And the Midnight Express versus the Fantastics, who are new to the territory here. And you can tell the fans are really getting behind them. And that's all for the U.S. tag team title opportunity. And it's head to head, man, with WrestleMania 4. That's where we're running a tournament to crown a new heavyweight champion following that main event on NBC, where we saw the evil twin referee, and it was Andre versus Hogan. And now the title's held up. So we're going to crown a new champion. And that same weekend, as if this isn't enough, with Clash of the Champions and WrestleMania, All Japan is running the Budokan, where Tenryu is going to beat Stan Hansen to retain the PWF heavyweight title and the NWA United National title. And Bruiser Brody is going to beat Jumbo Tsuruta to win the international heavyweight title. And meanwhile, you're all running around listening to that hit from Michael Jackson, The Man in the Mirror. It's the number one song in the world in this era, Tony.
Wow. That brings all that stuff brings you back, doesn't it?
The movies, the music.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think about wrestling sort of in a bubble, but when you contextualize it with, hey, 3 Men and a Baby and Michael Jackson, it's like, okay, got it.
Yep.
California Raisins can't be too far away.
Oh man. You know, here's their finish. I grew up in the 70s, but still to me, the greatest decade for music was the 80s.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it was.
The 70s and 80s are, and for that matter, I mean, I like a lot of the early 90s stuff too. Look at the Fantastics, man.
Yeah. I got some Lois Schiavone stories for you too.
About that era, you mean?
Well, just a couple of things. Actually, a couple of what's going on today things.
Talk about it after or during this Fantastics promo?
After. I want to hear him talk.
I mean, they're hot to the territory, and looking at it, you would think, man, this could be our next Rock and Roll Express. Well, Let's see how they sound on the mic.
4 o'clock Eastern Time in Greensboro, North Carolina. The Fantastics will get the opportunity that they have long waited for, and that's for the United States Tag Team Championship. Gentlemen, tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock, it's you all, the Midnight Express. It's going to be quite an evening.
I'll tell you what now, I want to thank all these people out here for the support. It's music to our ears. And tomorrow in the comfort of your own living room, or you can come down to the matches right there in Greensboro. Jimmy Cornette, we understand that your mother has went and bought a ringside ticket. Now, none of us has ever seen her, so it's going to be a sight for sore eyes. But let me tell you something, Jimmy. Polish those belts up, because tomorrow in Greensboro, the Clash of the Champions, something the Fantastics want. real bad. And like we said, we're not stealing your moves. We're going to show you that we're just that much better. This is music to our ears, Mr. Ross. We want to say a special hello, and we love you, and support us right here at 4 o'clock on TBS.
That rocket launcher that I saw was dynamic, and I'll tell you something, it was awesome.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ross. Just like Bobby said, just that much better makes all the difference. But it's less than 24 hours right now, Mr. Ross, and the butterflies are mounting. Bobby and myself, we're fired up, but we know when we get in that ring, the butterflies are going to dissipate. And Bobby Eaton, Stan Lane, you're going to be ours right there in Greensboro. And just like Bobby said earlier, with all these people's support, we can't go wrong in Greensboro. And Bobby and myself are just fired up, and we're glad we're right in that ring, especially with a title shot. You know, I want to say one more thing, Jimmy Cornette. Tomorrow in Greensboro, we're going to beat the Midnight Express and Cornette. There's not a thing you can do about it. Let's fire it up, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with a special look at the World Tag Team Championship right after this very brief timeout.
Thank you, Jim.
Man, I like that little element of having the fans around the ring beating the mat. Like that gave it a feel, did it not?
Yeah, that was great. It really was.
You guys are shilling hard the time. Let's hear you and Mr. Bosch talk about the Horsemen.
Like snooker. Now, they had a match with Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, the World Tag Team Champions recently. Magnum TA commentator ringside. A very controversial ending because, as you know, those World Tag Team belts are the utmost in our sport.
Well, did you ever know Blanchard, for instance, or any of these fellows who are connected with him who do not have the streak to be able to excite controversy? They never do things the way they should. Right. They do things according to their own rules, and no team should exist that doesn't pay attention to rules that are valid and certainly that are examined and then are given to the wrestlers to obey.
Well, and there's one man that feels the same way. His name is Magnum TA. Now, we'll be talking to him a little bit later about what had happened. I want you to see for yourself now the ending of the match. Magnum TA, commentator at ringside. Then the action really broke loose. Let's take a look at it.
This is what it's all about. It can all happen right here. Barry Windham can take him out.
So I think this went down in Virginia. Is that right?
That may have been Richmond, Virginia.
Yep. And
so take a look at the. Yeah, I believe Richmond had that that opening right in the middle of the hard camera. There's Magnum wielding the belt.
The bat.
Oh, sorry. I knew it started with the B.
Yeah, you nailed it. But here's the thing, though. I mean, listen, I know that this, I don't mean for this to sound inappropriate, but Magnum is not in a wheelchair here. I mean, a lot of people thought after that wreck in '86, they'd never see him walk again.
Right.
You can tell that, you know, he's moving around kind of gingerly, but he's standing there in a leather jacket with a bat. A lot of fans never thought they'd see something like that. And then
right
there you see Magnum use the bat to hit JJ, and then accidentally, and I think JR says accidentally or not, he hits Tully Blanchard with the bat because Tully was trying to tug at the bat, and eventually the bat went into Tully. The second referee gets involved, and now you see the decision being reversed, saying, nope, that was a DQ. You use the bat. That's it. You can see Tommy Young being very animated as he explains it, and the fans are upset, and Magnum's got the bat. This is a cool look, man. It's a cool story.
And as JR had said there, it was a commission referee, Virginia commission referee, a referee that you don't normally see.
Yes.
I think back in those days we used to have to use commission referees.
And man, you want to talk about.
This is the thing.
Here we go.
Here he is, truly the boss, Magnum TA. Welcome, really.
Well, thank you, David. You know, maybe it's time that I clear a few things up here. There's been a few discrepancies going on. People say a little controversy. Well, I say there's a whole lot of controversy because you see, it wasn't so long ago that I came out here and tried to lend my expertise, maybe do a little commentating here on TBS. And everybody took that opportunity to take their pot shots at me. So I had to move into a new adversity in life, maybe. I had to pick up a little bit of an equalizer, namely this baseball bat. Well, you know, that doesn't make me feel good because I don't like having to have an equalizer, but I make no mince words about the fact that I'm not 100% yet. I'm not ready to climb back in the ring, but that day will come. So Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, I don't apologize for getting involved in a situation where it should have just been 4 men involved, but again and again, James J. Dillon has to put his 2 cents worth in. Well, I just merely put in my 2 cents worth, and then Tully Blanchard wanted the bat. Well, he wanted the bat. I gave him the bat, and it felt real good doing it. Because you see, I'm no commentator. I'm no fancy damn guy to dress up. The Warrior still lives inside me. You know, Magnum, you and I go back a long, long way. You know, I know that they're selling videos of you and I in an I Quit match, and you love it. You're getting money off of me because something that didn't happen. I've had to live for 2 years with I Quit. I quit everywhere I go. I quit because of you. But you know, Magnum, I felt sorry for you. Poor Magnum, like everybody else. He got hurt, poured into his career. Well, that's too bad. But you know, Magnum, when you start sticking your nose back in our business again, you stay out until you can't crawl back in the ring. Then you start sticking your ring in. I don't care about equalizers. You want fast. Far enough. Just not far enough. You just watch it.
Oh my God.
Some good shit here, guys, if you're watching along with us.
I got goosebumps, man. Whether accidental or not, when it goes to a screen, it feels real. We saw Dusty Rhodes go bananas that someone had the audacity to attack Magnum TA. The bat shots were everywhere, including accidentally. Dusty Rhodes nailed Jim Crockett Jr., the boss, with the bat. Immediately, David and JR and Mr. Bosch, everybody went to check on him, but Dusty never let up. He was still after Tully. The babyface locker room had to come out to try to separate them, and we went to a break without it happening. One of the all-time great moments in TBS television history.
Right.
And you could see JJ Dillion really doing his best to take care of Magnum. He knew Magnum was not at 100%. And as Magnum was supposed to, quote unquote, take a bump, JJ Dillion helped him down a little bit. He did his best to take care of him. I don't know if Dusty was able to do so with the bat. A couple of those shots looked like they really landed. He took care when he could, but you know, it's hard to judge distance when guys are charging in, and that was great stuff, man.
I loved it.
I did
absolutely
too.
And you're going to see, I don't think there's any question. You know, sometimes most of the time we rip on JJ for his promos being boring.
He's going to cut one in a minute. That's amazing.
I think he's going to cut his best promo ever that I was a part of. And, I just think it was a great angle. It really was.
Go out of your way to see it. I mean, listen, I know a lot of you just enjoy listening to our podcast, and we're going to tell lots of dick and fart jokes for you today, I'm sure. But every now and again, wrestling makes you feel something. And that's when wrestling is at its best. Storytelling is at its best. Right. And if you can watch with us, it's World Championship Wrestling, Season 4, Episode 13, March 26, 1988. Go out of your way and watch that segment, because this is what made Jim Crockett Promotions what it was.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. I enjoyed this era. This was a kind of a tough time for us too, as far as the business and financially, and just, and of course, less than a year, I'd be gone too.
Yeah.
So there you go. Actually, in about a year. No, less than a year, because I left in January, I think. But yeah, it was a lot of good things going on, and I enjoyed this time in wrestling. Man, I liked the Varsity Club. I really did. Now, of course, with the exception of the devil himself, Kevin Sullivan, they didn't really have much of a personality as far as being able to talk. Rotunda wasn't the best talker in the world, never was. Steiner was just kind of a goof character, but Kevin Sullivan made it, buddy.
Yes, he did. I can't say that on paper I would think any of that made sense, but somehow it just kind of worked.
Yeah, it did kind of work. Hey, so a Lois update.
Yes, please.
Okay. So I don't know if you saw the first episode of QTV.
I did not, but I heard about it.
Okay. All right. So the girl, Harley, is going to be a big star.
Okay.
There's no question in my mind. And this is obviously a ripoff and some of the jokes that they have in there are going to be fun. The guy sitting beside of Harley to her left, her right, was Matt Schiavone.
Okay, I just threw it in my Google machine, and I'm going to go ahead and follow her career very closely from here on out.
Yeah. I think she's going in that role, she's going to be a big star. And
I can already tell she's going to be a big star.
She looks good, doesn't she?
Can't wait to see more.
Yeah. She's beautiful. To her right's Matt Schiavone.
I'm looking at that now. How cool is that?
How about that? Okay, kind of like. So I tell Lois, I send her a text during the day. I said, your oldest son is getting ready to make his TV debut. And her response was, oh, shit, is he going to take a bump? I said, no, it's nothing like that at all. So.
I love she asked if he's going to take a bump.
Get ready for this one. It happens. Now we're on the air and I get a text. And she said, was that it? I went, yeah. She said, where are the Lowest Rules t-shirt signs in the audience?
Oh my God.
Is that it? Yes. Where are the Lowest Rules t-shirts in the audience? I thought, wow, she's
a big star, man. She's a big star.
We have created a monster here. We have.
Did her new ride come in yet? I won't say anything further.
Okay.
I just want to ask about that.
That ride may never come in.
Really?
And that's the next part of the story.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we could talk about that or not.
Yeah. I think we've already talked about it, that we're getting her the chair that moves upstairs. If you saw Gremlins, right?
Well, and did you show her the meme I sent you? It's an old lady in one of those chairs going up the wall, and it says, "This shit drives me up the fucking wall."
Sure.
It just tickles me, and I'm like, listen, I don't know if you can share this with Lois or not, but it's funny.
So when I'm in Canada and I keep getting these texts from these people, and they said Lois is not responding. We want to try to get her to respond so we can install this. So I get home and I sent her a couple of texts. I said, you haven't responded yet. Well, we have now discovered that Lois is going to have knee replacement surgery on both knees.
At the same time?
Well, no, they're going to stagger them, obviously.
Kurt Angle did them both at the same time, dude.
Did he really?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So she's saying, well, if I get knee replacement surgery, I don't think I'll need it. So maybe I won't get it. So she's still kind of going back and forth whether she should. So she's got a shoulder replacement, a couple knee replacements. Man, I'm going to be married to the bionic woman here pretty soon.
Dude, is she going to get a vagina replacement, you think? They got rejuvenation surgeries for those. You should say, listen, Lois, you're under anyway. Why don't we just go ahead and do a little nip tuck down yonder, throw in that daddy stitch, and let's get back to business.
When are they going to have a penis replacement surgery?
They got that already. Silva got one back in 99.
Wow. You go to Mexico to get that?
He has a pump in his left cheek. So if you see him, you know how Shawn Michaels would stomp in the corner to get everybody ready for the super kick? He starts slapping his left cheek, and somebody's fixing to get like 18 seconds of fury. They're taking a break. We will too. Tony, I'm going to stop it down at 20. Okay. And we're doing it here because we're talking about what Lois is doing every day now. You and I've been doing it since the start of the pandemic. Of course, I'm talking about Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 because, well, my wife made me. She had done all the research and said, hey, we need to start doing this. So she started just making it for me every single month, every single morning. And we kept it going. We wanted to optimize our immune system through the pandemic. We wanted more energy. We wanted to have better gut health. And she knew if I was going to do it and that actually tastes good, well, AG1 checks all the boxes. It's a special blend of ingredients that's going to support your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your focus, your recovery, your aging, all of the things. Now, what is this stuff? Well, with one delicious scoop of AG1, buddy, you're getting 75 high quality vitamins and minerals and whole food source superfoods and probiotics and adaptogens. Seriously, it's everything you need. Whether you're trying to do keto or paleo or vegan or dairy free or gluten free, this checks all the boxes. And it has less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, no artificial anything, and it still tastes good. If you're looking for better mental clarity and alertness, better sleep quality and recovery, this checks all the boxes. Think of it as like your all-in-one nutritional insurance. And don't just take mine or Tony's word for it. There's over 7,000 5-star reviews. Isn't that right, Tony?
7,000 5-star reviews. And I'm telling you, in the scheme of the internet,
that's pretty big.
That's a lot. You're damn right. And I've said before that I started taking AG1 because I was tired of taking 27 different
vitamins
and minerals and just supplements for my head, for my heart, for walking, for it turned around my life because one scoop in water tastes great every morning, and that's all it takes.
Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. You heard him say it. It's 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is visit athleticgreens.com/WHW. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/WHW to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And we thank Athletic Greens.
Yeah, we thank Athletic Greens for being a sponsor. Our buddy Josh Henney just said online here, he just got his box of AG1 in. So Josh, enjoy, buddy. It's going to change your life.
You're going to love it. And you're going to love this promo from Kevin Sullivan. I think he's got a number on the socks. We're going to go back to the program here. We're at 47:20. That's 47 minutes and 20 seconds in 3, 2, 1, play.
Gentlemen, they're gearing up for the Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup.
Let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
He finally snapped. You see, I knew it was coming. The Prussia defending the U.S. belt, the Vossi Club coming on strong. Gary Hart has risen from the bogs, has come back. You know, the pressure on Dusty Rhodes has been insurmountable the last few months. You can see he was carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. I knew he was going to snap, but I didn't think the dark side of him would take over. He is mad now. He is absolutely mad. He's fallen to the abyss of the loss. You see, if that incident happened when he took the bat and tried to beat the life out of Tully Blanchard, provoked or not, he didn't try to just whack Tully Blanchard. He tried to take the life out of Tully Blanchard. He was looking not at ending Tully Blanchard's career, but ending his very existence on this planet. You see, if this had happened someplace else, he would have been locked up for 90 days because they would have tested him to see if he was criminally insane. What we just witnessed was an act of a madman, an act of a terrorist, and in all my days, you call me evil, you call me demented, and you call me sick. What I saw, I liked. I saw something from a sick, evil man that has finally taken that step. He may have been the American dream at one time. He might have been the man that stood for righteousness, but what I just witnessed, I witnessed a madman on the loose. And if something isn't done, nobody's safe. You see, We will take it to the limit. But he took a bat, and he was trying to bash Tully Blanchard's brains out. Do you understand, Jim Ross? If I was a lawyer, I'd have a dead solid case against him. Tully, if I was you, call somebody. My man, that was an act of a criminally insane individual.
It was an act of a man that was provoked, and Tully Blanchard had no business attacking Magnum TA. I don't agree with Sullivan's comments whatsoever. Ron Simmons is in the ring. Let's go there now, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Nice promo from Kevin Sullivan, selling what we're hearing is real.
Yeah.
We're going to see Ron Simmons dispense of this other gentleman here. But on the way there, I want to mention that you're going to get a shot at some point here of the crowd, and we're going to isolate that Mark Clayton, wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins, is here taking the show in. Do you remember him coming to a lot of the shows back then?
I don't. I remember Rick Roby coming, the punter for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
But I don't remember Mark Clayton coming. Hell, I told you one time they let Rick Roby run the fucking camera.
That's crazy.
And I remember thinking, wow, anybody else want to run a camera here? Anybody? I love Kevin Sullivan saying Varsity Club.
Yes.
Gary Hott came out of the bog. What I just saw, I liked. That was a good promo from Kevin. Very good promo.
He knew what to do, man. He's so talented. Yeah. There's something funny that happens in this match. When I previewed this show earlier in the week, you're going to see Ron hit a power slam, I think, here in a minute, and then he's going to go for like a bow and arrow. And at some point in the match, he goes back to it a second time, and you can actually hear a guy in the crowd go, "Not again." And I don't know why, but it just tickled me. It got all over me. Cause in studio wrestling, individual voices, you can make out, you can hear them.
Right.
You know, in an arena, that's hard to do, but
right.
I think he's coming up with the first time now, but he's going to come back to this move in a minute.
Okay. we probably should track it.
When he comes back to it the second time, I'm going to try to catch it.
Okay.
But buddy, it got all over me. That guy going, "Not again."
So this is the first bow and arrow,
This is the first one.
Okay.
And listen, hater, quote unquote, work rate nerds would say this is a rest hold. Okay. I get it. But in this era, you were trying to identify and dismantle and disable a body part. There you go. You see Mark Clayton. I mean, how about those glasses and the chain looking like $1 million? Looks like a rapper.
Yeah. Oh God, Ron was and still is just look at that.
Yeah, dude, he looks like $1 million, but this is not his style. He needs to be more power moves. We saw a bow and arrow. Now we're seeing a Boston Crab. I think we're going to do a bear hug, then another Boston Crab, then a body slam, and then back to the bow and arrow. And it's like, just beat him, Ron.
Here it comes.
I'm anxious to hear his comments, and plus we're going to see the Midnight Express, and we'll also see the courtesy of.
Maybe I missed it.
Yeah,
I think it's after another spot anyway. But buddy, hearing him yell, "Not again." I was kind of half-ass paying attention, but when I heard that, I was like, "Oh my, look at that!"
Yeah. Adam DeMoy must have been in the crowd, looking for attention.
We should mention that Clash of the Champions is the next day. We said earlier, 6,000 people in attendance. 5.6 is the rating for TBS. Of course, the main event was Flair versus Sting, and they had a lot of folks out there at ringside, including Ken Osmond, Jason Hervey, Sandy Scott, Patty Mullen, a lot of folks here.
Sandy Scott, Patty Mullen, and I think Jason Hervey. I think all those were judges.
Think about that. We made a Penthouse model, one of the judges, and one of the children actors from the Wonder Years,
Eddie Haskell.
And Eddie Haskell. They're going to decide who the NWA World Champion is.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
Simmons now hooking the leg and the arm of David Diamond and just pulling back on it. As you can see, Diamond, all thing he can do is try to shut out the pain at this time.
He was the most dominant defensive lineman in the Southeast Conference in the 1980s. And this young man, I'll tell you something, we talked about how high he finished in the Heisman Trophy balloting.
I think we missed it again.
He has got the great.
Dude, look, like, in fairness, somebody needs to help Ron.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I know he's a Hall of Famer, but in this era, it's like, why are you doing all these submission moves? Are you Stu Hart? Like, just whoop his ass. Let's go.
Well, it's probably because of all the time he had. And I don't know, maybe Dusty told him go out there and wrestle.
Maybe.
Maybe so. You never know.
Let's do some questions. Go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I stopped figuring out what goes on in the mind of wrestlers.
Long time ago?
At least a year ago.
Oh, I love you. I was going to say maybe it was when you saw him start eating parking lot panties, but it was a more recent development.
Yeah, because I'm working closer with him now. It's like, whoa, okay.
I can't imagine like you had been around wrestling your whole life. So I'm sure you, oh God.
He's a great role model for a lot of young athletes, is Ron Simmons.
Pulling on him now. Still cannot get over.
Slug him, Ron.
And Magnum walk. Well,
I keep thinking David's going to come out here and tell us how Jim Crockett Jr. is. I saw Magnum. He's going to be okay.
That ought to do it. Spine buster. And that didn't look like a working spine buster. That looked like, I'm going to throw you down, you piece of shit. Shoulder block off the top rope.
I think they're still tending to him. And Ron Simmons.
We had just talked earlier about the sheep herders hitting the throat and pounding on the throat and how much of a vulnerable part that was of the body. And then we see it stretch across a man's throat, the baseball bat, and hit Mr. Crockett near the throat. So take a look at Ron Simmons. And, buddy, he got some elevation this time, really springing out of the turnbuckle right there.
Ron Simmons, the big man from Florida State, the Seminole with 4 All-American citations to his credit, has just racked up another victory here on the Superstation. And, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just a few moments with Sting on TBS.
Man, I love JR's voice.
Oh, man.
Wasn't that great? With Sting right here on TBS.
I the JR with the hat and the WWE.
You don't like it as much.
Not as much as this.
I don't either.
This is the JR I remember. This is the JR that helped me out in my career.
I liked 89, 90, 91, 92 JR.
Yeah.
That WCW, not the Jim Crockett era. Look at early Sting here. That chick had some hair and a half right there. How would you describe that hair?
It looked like she had an electrode stuffed up her cooter.
Wow. I was going to say she put her finger in a socket, but
okay.
Now we're putting things in things. Okay.
Well,
you always say I'm the dirty one around here.
You are.
Wait a minute. What?
Yeah. You're the one. You're the one that set the bar so high. I've got to at least.
Was I there when you were eating parking lot panties with Klondike Bill? No, I was 7. I wasn't there.
I didn't eat them. I watched them being eaten, and it's.
You did this, Tony. You made our show this way, not me.
No. I just happened to drop the F-bomb now and then. And that changed everybody's whole world. As far as they look at me. And I wonder sometimes, I was wondering about this last week. I was at Mass last week, reading at Mass.
Yeah.
And the priest came out, and I'm sitting there listening to the priest talk. And I'm wondering if I need to go see a priest about the way I talk on my podcast. I wonder if I can legitimately consider myself a great Catholic by standing up there and talking to the people like I do, or reading scripture like I do, and then come here maybe an hour afterwards and tell everybody to go fuck themselves. I just wonder if that's right. So after I go see the priest here, I may clean up my language.
Well, I fucking hope not.
I didn't know what your response to that would be, but.
I mean, that's about right? Gavin wants to know.
Okay.
To your knowledge, were Barry and Lex ever planned for more than a short run before Barry's turn? It sure feels like they could have been a big money babyface team with a lot of available opponents.
It was a short run. I don't think anything more was planned for that. I really don't.
Brad Stanton wants to know, Tony, who's your favorite Playboy centerfold?
I guess it would have been Emily Feinberg, right?
Wait, was she in it?
Yeah, she wasn't Vince's assistant, Playboy Playmate of the week or year or month or whatever.
I didn't know that. I'm looking it up now. I'll be damned. There she is.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I did know this because I recognize this picture.
Yeah.
I can't believe that was your favorite though. I really thought you would have went like, I don't know, Anna Nicole Smith or Jenny McCarthy or,
Jenny McCarthy pretty hot.
Jenny McCarthy was Roll Tide. Oh, speaking of Roll Tide, here's Sting and JR.
Match of your life in Greensboro. I said it was a great victory for you, Sting.
I heard you. I got to reach farther than I've ever had to reach for any kind of composure that I have left. After what I saw, my friends, Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, and Magnum TA. Tomorrow night, one of the most important matches of my life. I can't get my train of thought. Most important match of my life tomorrow. And I got to get it together, and I can't believe what happened out here. I don't even want to do this interview. I don't feel like talking. That's all I have to say.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that shows you the kind of athlete he is. The biggest match of his career, less than 24 hours away. He's thinking about his friends, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and Magnum TA. We'll be right back and speak with JJ Dillion after this timeout.
So JJ is going to cut a hell of a promo, but Sting right there was blown about 400 sky high. And all I could think was, we should have not been interviewing guys right after a match like that. Show a replay, buy some time. Let's take a listen. The best promo of JJ's life, according to Tony Schiavone.
The only thing we have to say is really what's on your mind right now.
Well, first thing on my mind is I'm out here at this moment not to say anything cute, not to come out here to entertain you. I'm not out here to brag about the Four Horsemen. I'm out here to address a situation that took place not 10 feet from me earlier today. Now, Magnum TA, number one, first, we saw your interference in a match, Cincinnati, Ohio, where the World Tag Team titles were at stake. And even though the fans here today maybe didn't see the total story, following the match, the Horsemen put it on record that we would not tolerate any such incidents again. You were out there under the guise of a commentator sitting at the desk with a microphone in front of your hand. Now, I realize, because I've been in competition myself, that you as a champion had a fire inside of you that only champions have. And even though you were in a horrible wreck, that fire, that flame inside of you was never stuffed out. Now, you've had to fight back from physical disabilities, and my heart went out to you at one time, but life is tough, okay? And we are not going to excuse you coming out and interfering in any of our matches. I think Tully Blanchard put it best, because he's still eating inside over an I Quit incident 3 years ago where he says he never said the words. And we're not going to tolerate you coming out. Magnum, like he said, either get in rehabilitation, put a pair of tights on, or get lost. And when you came out here today shooting your mouth off, you just asked for it. You're the one that precipitated the whole thing. And all he did was tell you right to your face exactly what was going to happen. And when Dusty Rhodes came out here, Barry Windham, it's just a big mess is what it is. Now, the most important thing is that Dusty Rhodes, a man that was 3 times NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the man that everybody calls the legend, the man that everybody loved and endeared and looked up to, took a baseball bat. That's right, a baseball bat, and struck one of the members of the World Tag Team Championship team. And then Jim Crockett Jr. on the board of directors of the National Wrestling Alliance was struck a blow at the hands of that same man, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Now, this type of actions cannot be tolerated by anyone. And it's a weekend. I can't do much right now. But Monday morning at 8 o'clock, there will be a copy of this incident on personal videotape, hand-delivered by a courier to every single member of the NWA Board of Directors. and they can watch it 100 times. One time is all I think they need to see it. And then I'm not requesting, I'm demanding that the American Dream, yes, your 3 times former world heavyweight champion, U.S. champion, be barred from wrestling for the rest of his life. And that's the bottom line. I don't have anything further to say.
Can I say something right here? I don't take sides. I'm not condoning what Dusty Rhodes did with a baseball bat to Mr. Crockett. We're supposed to have a match in the ring. I think it warrants that we take a look at it right now. And I think what you'll find, Jim, you'll agree with me, that really Tully instigated this whole matter from the beginning.
That's beside the point, and you can show it. I would love to see it again because I think this message speaks for itself, and it's the same thing that every member of the board of directors is going to view Monday morning at 8:01 when their doorbell rings. And then, like I said, I'm demanding that the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and I'll say it right now, be barred from wrestling for the rest of his life.
Well, I'm sure they're not going to agree with that. What do you say we take a look at it? Yeah, please.
Okay, fans.
You know, Magnum, you and I go back a long, long way. You know, I know that they're selling videos of you and I in an I Quit match, and you love it. You're getting money off of me because something that didn't happen. I've had to live for 2 years with I Quit. I quit everywhere I go. I quit because of you. But you know, Magnum, I felt sorry for you. Poor Magnum, like everybody else. He got hurt far into his career. Well, that's too bad. But you know, Magnum, when you start sticking your nose back in our business again, you stay out until you can crawl back in the ring. Then you start sticking your ring in. I don't care about equalizers. You want fast, far enough. Just far enough. You just want to.
Oh, my God.
Dusty was swinging for the fences right there, I think.
A couple of those hit for real, and here comes Jim Crockett.
Yeah. Wow. Just missed Barry's head. Here it comes.
Man, there it was. I mean, hitting the boss with a bat. Yeah. Here's how it shows you what a big deal this angle was too, because we show a replay of it in the same show. Let's do a pause here at 106.45, and we'll stop it down right now. Our last break, of course, we could see that Dusty Rhodes right there was delivering some pretty hard bat shots. And if you're looking to deliver some hard bat shots, you got to try Blue Chew. It's going to make you feel like you got a bigger hog meat. It's going to feel like it's sturdy, like oak. That's what we're talking about. BlueChew.com. In case you haven't already tried it, what are you waiting for? Seriously, every single person I've put this on loves it. And they say, hey man, thanks for the pro tip. All smiles at my house. We all know that confidence can take you far in life, but that's especially true in the bedroom. And when you know that you can be a 60-minute man, everybody wins. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers you the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. So you can plan ahead or be ready anytime. You know, maybe there's a run-in opportunity. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Then you just run around the house like Dusty Rhodes, slinging that bat everywhere. And the best part, it's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversation, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made right here in the USA, prepared and shipped directly to your door, all in a discreet package. Think about this as like a PED for your hog meat. All right.
Whoa.
Tony used to be a baseball guy.
Yep.
You heard about the old loaded bats, the corked bats, hit homers every time. Hit homers every time with a super hard dong, thanks to your friends at Blue Chew. And if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, chew it and do it. Let's have some better sex, y'all. And Tony, I think we got a special offer if you want to get a Dusty Rhodes level bat in your britches, right?
If you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, chew it and do it and have better sex, we've got our special deal right now for our listeners. Try Blue Chew for free. That's right. When you use the promo code WHW at checkout, just pay the $5 shipping charge. That's BlueChew.com, promo code WHW to receive your first month free Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring our podcast, as we've been doing for a couple of years now. We are in the Blue Chew studios. We are having a lot of fun here too. That was a great promo by JJ Dillion. He was frazzled. He didn't look as buttoned up. He didn't have his tie on. He didn't have his jacket on. He had his sleeves rolled up. It was a fire and brimstone promo. It was fantastic. Let's take a time out now and check out all the folks riding along with us in our group chat. Of course, you can be a member of our studio audience. Let's do some questions here, Tony. Coach Rosie wants to know, are you playing basketball in the charity event this week, Tony? I am not. You know, I used to be a pretty damn good basketball player.
No, you weren't.
Oh yeah, I was. Ask anybody who grew up with me.
What position did you play?
No, I didn't play on a team.
You were a shooter.
Yes, I was a shooter, man. I could burn them. But I had my neck surgery. I tried it. I tried shooting basketball. I was on one of Sammy Guevara's blogs where I played -1 in a basketball game. I can't shoot straight anymore. So, nah.
You think if you trimmed your goddamn fingernails, you'd have better aim?
It might help.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was probably your fingernails are probably dragging the air, and it's slowing down the velocity. Bobby wants to know, has Tony ever considered clean shaving like he was in WCW? So these days, is there a chance we see a clean shaven Tony in AEW?
No, there's not. We talked about that the other day. The announcers did. And I think it was Taz says, so Schiavone, why don't you go back to just the mustache? I said, no, because if you lose the beard here, then your double chin goes bleep.
Yeah. Gives you a little camouflage.
Yeah, it's a camouflage for the double chin. So no, I'm not going to go back to clean shaving. I like this. It's a little effort. It really is.
Keith Morrison says, what was your mindset after this angle and going into the first clash?
Well, my mindset was to move past this angle and make the clash a great show. And that brings up a great point, Coach. I'm glad you brought it up. And I wanted to ask you this, Conrad. Do you think the angle itself overshadowed the clash?
No, I mean, I think it would make me want to watch more.
Okay, good.
So
because Sting and Flair was the main event.
Yeah, and it's not being pushed right now. Yeah,
that's right. It's not being pushed. Even Sting, who was all blown up, wouldn't even talk about his match against Flair.
Well, that's because he was blown up.
Okay.
I mean, that to me is maybe we should have had Ron Simmons wrestle a few minutes less, maybe a couple less stretch holds there. And then we show a replay or a package. I would have liked to have seen a Sting Rocky montage type deal. Him working the weights, running some stadium steps, whatever.
Right.
And you got a Miami Dolphin guy there. Maybe he's a cool guy. Maybe we could have had something with him and Sting doing something and then talk to him when he's had a minute to catch his breath. But we probably did him a disservice sticking a mic in his face right after.
Yes, we did.
Bryant wants to know, is Tully Blanchard truly an underrated promo guy? I would think so. I think he's one of the all-time great heels.
Yeah, Conrad and I have talked about that so many times. You go back and you watch some of these programs along with us back in the archives, and you'll listen to some great Tully promos. He cut a great one right there on Magnum. He really, really did. So yeah, I agree. He is a truly underrated promo guy.
Coach Rosie says, did you ever think Magnum would ever make it back into the ring?
No, we all knew he was done.
Yeah.
And it kind of surprised me that I remember thinking, we know he's done. We know he'll never wrestle again because he truly was in the hospital for a long time.
Right.
And I remember thinking, are we doing a disservice by making people believe he may go back in the ring? Because we were making people.
I mean, he just said it. He goes, I'm not ready. I'm not at 100%. I'm not ready to get back in that ring yet, but that day will come. And it's like,
right.
Maybe not.
But we knew it wouldn't come.
Last one, then we'll jump back to the program here. Bobby wants to know, Tony, would the territory system work today? Would the territory system work today?
No. Because of the internet.
Well, listen, I hear you, but I do wonder, because we hear a lot of times old school guys say, man, the trouble with wrestling today is we're not running enough live events. They're not running shows every night. They're not even running a lot of house shows. And I got to think that those dark tapings, the elevation tapings, this house rules event thing that happened over the weekend, while it's not a quote unquote territory, it's about getting guys reps.
Yeah.
So maybe there is a way to do something that has more reps, but I'm with you. A traditional territory thing, maybe not so much.
It's kind of been supplanted by the independent promoters, right?
Yes.
And I know Tony Khan lets guys work independently. There's some pros and cons to that. There's a lot of cons to it, if you ask me. The pros are the guys and girls get to work more and
Right.
get to learn. The cons are they really learning to work? Because there's a lot of independent promoters I don't trust.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. I mean, first of all, do they have medical staff on hand? No. I don't think. I may be wrong. Do they have coaches to help them along? No. Wrestlers these days need coaches. Back then they didn't.
Right.
These days they need coaches. And I just wonder, when a wrestler goes out to an independent promotion and wrestles, number one, he is putting his career in jeopardy because, they do crazy things. And number two, is he getting the guidance he needs to put together a good match? So I'm not sure. Hey, I know there's some good independent promoters out there, but there's just so many, Conrad. My God.
Yes.
Aren't there?
Yes.
It's like everybody who, oh, by the way, hey, I'm a wrestling fan. Why don't I start promoting matches? I don't know. A lot of the independents worry me. But anyway, so the independents have supplanted, in my mind, the territories, because you can find a wrestling match almost in any state, can't you?
Sometimes you can even convince a grandfather to run an outlaw mud show inside of an old classic arena in downtown Nashville. I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get back to the program, because we got a strong finish. We got a Jim Crockett or Jim Cornette promo coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And those are always a treat in this era. It's season 4, episode 13, March 26, 1988. We're at 106.45. That's 106.45. And we'll get back to it here in 3, 2, 1, play.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Midnight Express due up here in just a few moments, but Jim Cornette will be joining us before that. What's the matter with you? Don't you feel well?
Jim Ross, something happened out here today. I don't think it should pass without comment. I think most of you people know that I am, and for the past several years have been a close personal friend of Jim Crockett Jr. And I think also, Jim Ross, you saw what happened out here. I have the greatest, utmost personal respect for Jimmy Crockett. And I think that what Dusty Rhodes did to come out here not only to take a baseball bat, a deadly weapon, try to assassinate Tully Blanchard, make a complete fiasco, wreak pandemonium and havoc through the whole television studio, but to take that very self-same, and everybody saw it, the evidence would stand up in any court in this country, take that very self-same deadly weapon to Jim Crockett, my close personal friend, and give him a serious injury. I think that whatever punishment can be meted out to Dusty Rhodes, whether it be fining, whether it be suspension, whether it be imprisonment, whether it be electrocution, any punishment that can be meted out to Dusty Rhodes is entirely deserving for what that he did right here in this studio. It would stand up in any court, the highest court in the land, what he did to my good friend, Jim Crockett Jr., my close personal friend. With a guy like Dusty Rhodes around here, I fear for my life. Except I don't fear for my life when I have these men by my side, the United States Tag Team Champions, beautiful Bobby and Sweet Stan, the Midnight Express.
What a great piece of business there. Feigning as if he gives a shit about the owner, all in an effort to get Dusty banned from wrestling. Great stuff.
Yeah, now it's the complete focus of this entire show, and it's a pretty good thread running through the show here. It really is.
Yes,
it's a great story, and even Cornette said tried to assassinate Tully Blanchard.
Well,
just went right to it, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't talk about killing one another. That's kind of off limits, but he went right to it, man, trying to assassinate. Oh man.
It's a hell of a promo. It's a hell of an angle.
Cornette was wonderful. It was wonderful.
You should notice that the Midnight Express here are wrestling Kendall Windham and Big Bear Collie.
Yeah. Okay.
We're even going to see a little bit of interaction. I think there's going to be some violence on the outside of the ring. They're going to come see JR, and there's Cornette blowing his nose in a hanky.
Huh.
Kendall Windham, boy, if you didn't know better, you would think he's related to Barry.
Wow. Wouldn't you? Big Bear Collie standing on the outside kind of looks like a Scott Norton.
He does. If Scott Norton quit lifting weights and started eating.
Which I think most wrestlers have done once they get older.
I didn't wait. Didn't take me to wait to get older to start doing that.
Just ask Barry Darsow.
Barry Darso's put on the LBs.
Oh, he's a big boy. I told you, I saw him at
Orangedeal.
At Orangedeal. At Baird's funeral, and I saw him there, and I swear from behind I thought it was Vader when I first saw him.
Vader?
He looks like, from behind, he looked like Vader. I mean, he's got just a little bit of hair in the back, a little bit of red hair in the back, big bald head.
Was he wearing a mask? Was he talking about feeling no pain? Was he throwing up the V? No. Did he break an enhancement guy's back while you were there? Or?
No. And not wash his gear?
I wasn't going to say that. That's a rude comment.
Yeah. Really? Breaking guys' back's not a rude comment?
Well, he did break a guy's back.
And he did smell bad.
Well, we don't know that as fans. His son listens to the program. Quit picking on Vader.
All right. Sorry.
Let's pick on Lois instead. It's more fun.
Okay, let's wrap this up by saying, for his son and all the fans, Vader was one of the great performers of all time.
The best.
Yep. There was nobody better as a heel.
So the big Clash of the Champions the next day, you guys have been hammering it every time you go to a break. Do you think this was hard to get TBS on board with you guys just really going head to head with WrestleMania?
Yeah, I don't know the actual, you talked to Jimmy about this before he passed away. I wasn't privy about any negotiation, but on the surface, it would seem to me to be very difficult for them to open up a Sunday show at 4:00 for us, or a time at 4:00.
Right?
Yeah. When they knew, or when they thought, most of the wrestling fans would be tuned into WrestleMania, but it was done to prevent people from buying WrestleMania.
Right.
Don't buy WrestleMania. Watch this free show on the Superstation.
Right.
I'm sure there was some trepidation from TBS. Do you remember what Jim said about it, or did you ask him about this, about the negotiations?
I don't really recall, if I'm honest with you. Yeah. But I know that the answer is over on adfreeshows.com. We made sure we posted that.
Yeah. And also probably something you need to ask David about when you go through the book, because as you know, and I know, David has been very, very open about his feelings.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have to be honest, I don't know if he's brought some of this stuff up on the book, but you and I have seen his text threads.
Oh yeah. He just tells the truth, boy.
Yeah, man.
He's not shy or bashful about, hey, this is how it is. And this is what happened. And it's what makes those conversations so much fun. Let's take a look at this.
I thought you cash bond. You better remember that. Oh man! Hey, come on! Gets a better stereo effect. Come on.
Oh, Bobby, you hit my knuckle. I'm sorry.
That's the most I've heard him talk on television in a couple of years.
Paul Bosch has been predicting the downfall of the Midnight Express for years and years and years. Every Friday night in that Sam Houston Coliseum for years, he predicted the downfall of the Midnight Express, and we emerged with the belts and our hands raised high in the air. So, Paul Bosch, you may have a Social Security number of 1, but you don't know everything about wrestling. Fantastics, you may be able to do a sloppy imitation of the rocket launcher, but you have not mastered it. You have not perfected it. You can't do it like the Midnight Express can do it. And every tag team in professional wrestling is going to have to take note that what we do to the Fantastics, what we do to the Fantastics, just like we're doing to that big fat collie, we can do to anybody else.
Big Bear Collie to you.
Big Fat Collie is what his name is. That's why we're after the Fantastics, because we got to prove by you doing anything possible to get them out of professional wrestling that no other team can come and do the same thing to us that they did, which is...
Can you imagine as we're watching this, by the way, how great was that punch and the moment that, you know, Bobby brings Collie over to the podium, sticks the mic right by the blow, and lets you hear it not once, but twice. But as I'm watching this, the charisma in the ring is just dripping off Bobby Eaton. But can you imagine if that dude had a physique and was tan to work like that and have that in-ring charisma? Yeah. If he had a mouthpiece like Cornette, man, he could have been one of the biggest stars in the history of wrestling. We know he's one of the best performers, but he just didn't have that WWF action figure style look because he's not pumping himself up full of shit, I'm sure. But my goodness, if he had the genetics to look like an action figure with everything else he had, whew, sky was the limit.
Yeah. One of the top 10 performers of all time.
I would agree with that.
He was the lifeblood of
the greatest tag team of all time.
Yes. And I'm talking about in ring.
Yes.
Not talking about obviously on the mic because Jim Cornette was that. But yeah,
man, you're just hammering it here, dude. Look at this. Every single time you go to a break, clash. Everybody. Now look at this big green machine, dressed like a fucking goof, head to toe in green, taking on El Negro. It's a black guy in a red mask. What are we doing? Why are we not running hype packages for the damn show tomorrow?
Oh,
this is a time killer.
Because we didn't build packages back then.
But you should have, you motherfuckers.
Yeah. We didn't have edit suites.
You're on TBS. Have them do it. God damn it.
Hey. You learn, don't you?
Is this, who, do you know who this is? Is this?
No, I don't know who this is. I don't remember who this is. Just a big fat motherfucker. May have been someone that wrestled earlier. I don't know. Big green machine. You think this was a Captain Planet thing?
I don't even know what a Captain Planet thing is.
Well, Captain Planet was a guy who wanted to protect the planet, right?
411 Mania would say that you guys said in the commentary here. He's made quite a name for himself in the past few weeks, and everybody's been talking about him. This is literally his only television match.
Okay. I'd like to thank 411 Mania.
Yes.
I'd like to thank them for being a part of this. Go fuck yourself. Now I got to go back and see the priest again.
What did they do to piss you off?
I don't like any of them, dude.
You just wake up in a bad mood now?
No, I just don't like any of those sites. Cage match, probably the only one I like.
I don't even know what 411 Mania does.
Nothing. I can answer that.
I just Googled, this guy trying to figure out who it is. Cause it's not like, even though you were there, I know you don't fucking know.
Yeah. Who was it?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to look it up and I don't see it. So I just typed it in and I saw where they reviewed it. So I clicked it.
This is brutal.
It is.
This is like a channel changer.
Yes.
It's like, hey, we're going to promote the Clash, and fans are going to think, well, I didn't hear him do it because I wasn't there. I went somewhere else. Where's Andy Griffith?
Wait. Is this Bugsy McGraw?
It could be.
It is.
Oh, you just found that out?
Yeah.
Well, now that you say it, he's doing some of the Bugsy shit. And what I'm saying is just the way he holds his arms and everything.
That's him.
Bugsy McGraw. Did 411 fuck sheet tell you that?
Cage match did.
Okay.
Oh God, I can't believe I just snorted on the show. I don't remember you ever making me laugh so hard. In 411 fuck sheet. Fuck sheet. Oh God.
Oh God.
I wish I could make fuck sheet a shirt, but I just can't bring myself to sell that. Oh God. Oh.
Oh God. Jesus Christ. Anyway. Yep, there's Bugsy, buddy. You can tell the way he walks around the ring.
411 fuck sheet. Woo! I don't know what I expected, but that wasn't it. Oh God.
Oh, well, the big green machine is laying in them elbow drops.
Fuck sheet.
Lord.
Oh God.
God, we still got 11 minutes to go in the show.
And we're going to show the replay again, by the way.
And still no.
By the way, the finish of this match is 7 goddamn elbow drops in a row. 7.
And still no. You're right. Highlight package or something.
We're going to see replays of the 7 elbow drops there. No, just the last one.
Gary Hart. I want to listen to this.
No, we're watching him get up in slow-mo and drop it again.
Okay, I'm ahead of you then.
Yeah, I'm at 120, 42, 43, 44, 45. And I assume on the other side of this. Yeah, here we go. We're at 51.
Saw what happened on the monitors.
See, a lot of people are out here talking about how surprised they are. What a violent act Dusty Rhodes perpetrated. Well, you see, I know Dusty Rhodes from day one. I had a great hand in developing his career early on. Dusty Rhodes, the side that you saw of him today is the side that he continuously tries to hide. But on more than one occasion, I have known the violence of Dusty Rhodes. On more than one occasion, in roughneck, redneck joints out in West Texas and down in South Texas, I've known Dusty Rhodes to go and get a board, a crowbar out of the back of the car, a tar iron. I've seen the man bash heads. I've seen him clean out whole bars. The one thing you must remember about one Virgil Reynolds, Dusty Rhodes, he is a violent man. It comes from his youth, and it did not surprise me at all. What did I tell you about Rhodes?
You know, Gary, a couple months back when I was after Dusty Rhodes about the U.S. title, you mentioned to me, he's a dangerous man. Don't ever turn your back on him because he'll snap. When he snaps, he'll pick up anything in sight.
Let me tell you.
You were right.
It surprised me that he has kept that side of himself hidden for so long. And I will guarantee you, if he gets an opportunity to do it again, he will. Did you notice? He went after everybody.
He was provoked. He wants to clean house. Not only
Dusty Rhodes is a violent man. Dusty Rhodes was born in violence. He was raised in violence. He is as violent and as evil as any human being that walked the face of the earth.
In the sport of professional wrestling, you should have it controlled at all times. He should have it controlled.
Don't turn your back, brother. That's the secret. Don't turn your back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, those comments from Gary Hart and the Latin sensation Al Perez, and we'll be back with Shane Douglas and gorgeous Jimmy Garvin in tag team action right after you see this.
So when we come back, we're going to see Shane Douglas teaming up with Jimmy Garvin to take on Mike Jackson and Art Pritz. That's right. The Shane Douglas. He actually debuted here with Jim Crockett Promotions on Atlanta TV the prior month. So he was on national television here in February of '88. The world is becoming familiar with Shane Douglas, and he's going to be a big part of our wrestling for, the next 12 or 13 years or so. Mm-hmm. Mike Jackson still wrestling. Mike Jackson, when he's wrestling here, looks like he is he's senior management at the North Pole for Santa Claus. He looks like the head elf, and he looks like he's near retirement age there. He is still wrestling today. Meanwhile, Shane Douglas and everybody else involved is not.
Right.
But somehow Mike Jackson, who was born and looked 50 when he was born, still doing his thing.
That's an amazing story in itself.
I mean, this is what we're watching. Tony's 35 years ago, and he's still wrestling, dude. It's crazy.
How great did Perez look?
He looked like $1 million, and he was offered main event run with Sting for the title at Starrcade. Thought it would be bad for his career. Passed. Doing fuck all now. Not saying that would have worked out better. Just saying.
Yeah, I think somebody on, it was Doug Ritter here on our live feeds there, and said he looked like Seth Rollins' dad. He did have Seth Rollins look about him, didn't he? Yeah.
Yep. Wow. Of course, Seth Rollins, also a Latin sensation. Colby Lopez, his real name. So, hey, we don't know. Could have been his dad. We weren't there.
Could have been. Yeah.
I mean,
you just never know.
It's been well established, who Tony Khan's uncle was. I don't think a lot of people knew that Tony Khan's uncle was a member of the Jim Crockett Promotions team. Tejo Khan, of course. Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Everybody knows you're lying, but that's okay. It's what makes this show fun.
When have I lied?
Lies and bullshit make this show fun.
Tony, listen, we're in a bit of a lull here.
Yeah.
Well, it's a Mike Jackson match at our main event. So can you let's finish on a high note. Do you want to show everybody your hog meat? Just give them one good look, just up close real fast.
Hang on. It's not with me today.
Can we schedule it for next week?
We'll try, but I never know when it's going to be with me or not.
Well, if you want, we could show you some of Rebel's happy hour from adfreeshows.com, and we could just see what happens.
Yeah, it wouldn't take long then.
It still wouldn't be long. When you measure your dick, where do you start?
I don't do any measuring.
Like
I don't do any measuring. Don't read anything in the fact that I have a tape measure with me.
Oh, well, we're ready. We're ready to do it right now. Show me on the tape measure. Let's do this. Let's go around the horn here with our guys in the ring.
Okay.
So Action Jackson, show me where you how he measures up using the tape measure.
Action Jackson?
Yeah. Mike Jackson.
Okay. Mike Jackson's probably
you can lock it in place, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right there. Yeah. It's probably Action Jackson.
That's substantial. What about Jimmy Jam?
Jimmy Jam?
Lord. Yeah. All right. What about Teddy Long?
Teddy Long?
Well, he is called Teddy Long for a reason.
That's right. That's his name.
All right. Now let's think about the guys at the podium. Jim Ross.
Okay. Jim's probably a lot of action. That's pretty good action.
That's pretty good action. Yeah. And then we saw Jim Crockett Jr. God rest his soul. Where do you think old Jimmy was?
Right there. Yeah.
Tip of the spear. Okay. Shane Douglas. He's in the ring.
Shane's probably right there a little bit.
Well, yeah. The franchise showing out. Yeah. Tony Schiavone.
It's genetics, buddy.
Bless his heart. Does it skip a generation? Like back in the day when you were,
I don't know. I don't know if it skips a generation or not. I don't go checking asking my grandparents or my dad when they were alive. Hey, how big is your dick?
Well, you got to see your kids. You changed their diapers where
Yeah, to piss me off, man.
God damn it.
Yeah. Lois says you got to change the boys' diapers. I said, absolutely not.
Be depressed for the whole rest of the day.
I'll get pissed off.
Oh God. So it does skip a generation. It skipped you.
Yeah, boy, did it ever. That's okay.
That's fantastic, dude. I think
that's why God had Lois and I find each other.
Because
she doesn't want it, and I ain't got anything to give her.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Match made in heaven.
Match made in heaven.
Man, Shane Douglas out here. What do you think of the white boots, the white trunks that him and Garvin are wearing? Mr. Wrestling 2, adult diaper. What's the vibe you're getting?
Dynamic dudes vibe. Isn't that how they wore white, didn't they too?
Yes.
Yeah. This is pre-dynamic dudes bullshit. Oh shit. I don't know where you are, but that guy's head.
Yeah.
Kind of got cranked in there. Oh, take a look at these two guys.
I'm just slightly behind.
I'll tell you something, Tony, it has been quite a day.
Yeah, it really has. It's certainly a day that we did not expect. Mr. Paul Bosch's here that we are apprecitive of.
Here's David.
David, I know. Come on in here and talk to us, and we're all our thoughts with you and the family this time. How's Jimmy doing?
He took, as you saw, he took a pretty good blow. He really did. But we're taking care of him, and the way my brother is, he'll bounce back. I know he will.
I'm sure he will. And you've been with him since this time, and let him know that we're all thinking about him, and hopefully we can get back and talk to him very soon.
Tony, like JJ said, we cannot tolerate what went on. We cannot tolerate it at all. Tully Blanchard, we can't tolerate what you did. Remember that. Isn't that correct?
I would agree with you.
All right. You fans be the judge right now. You go back and you watch it and you decide whether it's Tully Blanchard or Dusty Rhodes who needs to be suspended. You watch it. Just go
Take a look at it.
Start sticking your ring in. I don't care about equalizers. You want that? Far enough. Just go far enough. You just want to.
Oh my God.
The super slow-mo of the bat shot there. And then the credits, man. That's how you go off the air. Of course, we know that the next day is a big show. It's the very first Clash of the Champions. This is a great time to be a wrestling fan. And right now is a great time to be a homeowner who's checking out savewithconrad.com. Of course, everybody and their brother is talking about spring break. Well, why not take a spring break from house payments? No house payments for 2 months over at savewithconrad.com. And I encourage you to check out our reviews, truly independent third-party reviews. And these are all over at conradreviews.com. Let's just read a couple of our most recent reviews. Ben gave us 5 stars and says, friendly, fast, and amazing customer service. Reagan also gave us 5 stars. It was a smooth and easy experience. All of our questions were answered and the process was pretty quick from start to finish. Another 5-star rating here from Kurt in Fairmont, Minnesota. Fast, friendly service, excellent communication with staff. They were all very helpful, understanding, and caring. They were very patient with my many questions. I'm proud to have put my trust and Save with Conrad. Not only an excellent wrestling historian and podfather, but an excellent mortgage and debt consolidation and debt extraordinaire. Thank you so much. God bless Conrad Thompson and First Family Mortgage. Well, nice of you to say that, Kurt. God bless you for thinking, hey man, I want to keep more of my own money. I want to skip my next 2 house payments. I want to get a lower monthly payment. I want a greater tax deduction. And I want to pay my house off faster. If you've got credit card debt, if you're in a 30-year loan, it's not a matter of if we can save you money. It's a matter of how much. What's your interest rate on that credit card right now? 18%, 28%, whatever it is, you know you can do better. If you get a cheaper rate and a greater tax deduction and lower your monthly payments, why wouldn't you do that? Find out how easy it is at savewithconrad.com. You don't need perfect credit to do this. And even if you don't qualify, we're not going to say no. We're going to say not yet, but here's how. We're going to get you a plan of how to improve your credit score to make those dreams of home ownership a reality. And we want to help you do that right now at savewithconrad.com. NMLS number 65084. By the way, did I mention this? No house payments for 2 months. Savewithconrad.com. And Tony, we should remind everybody that if you're looking to advertise with men who are ages, 18 to 54, there's no better place to advertise than right here. You hear a lot of these same commercials over and over and over. You want to know why? Because it really works. Their targeted audience, there's very little waste. Go right now to Advertise with WHW. That's Advertise with WHW, and find out how easy it is to reach our audience and have Tony Schiavone shill your shit right here on the program. We also want to mention that adfreeshows.com is doing a free trial. You get access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts starting at just $9, and try the first week on us for free. You'll even enjoy the book. You heard us talk about it today. We're talking about March of 1985. Vince is going to bring WrestleMania to life. At the same time, Jim Crockett Promotions is getting back on TBS. This is when Jim Crockett Promotions really took flight, and we go day by day, page by page, show by show, and lift the old velvet rope and show you what's happening behind the scenes in Jim Crockett Promotions. From the handwriting of JJ Dillion, from the genius mind of Dusty Rhodes, from Jim Crockett Jr.'s personal red books, we sit down with David Crockett to break it down. We just had John Filippelli on too. He was the guy who fired Bruce Pritchard and was the executive producer. And he pulled no punches about politics in the WWF in that era, working with Vince, working with Kevin Dunn, working with Bruce, and how it all got sideways. Probably never heard him talk about wrestling before, and he's doing it for us at adfreeshows.com. Check it out. The first week is on us. By the way, the best way to support the show is to check us out on YouTube. It's one thing to hear the show. It is another to see Tony Schiavone with his tape measure. And you can do that at WHW on YouTube.com. That's WHW on YouTube.com. And of course, you can find us everywhere else. He is at Tony Schiavone 24 on Twitter if you'd like to get blocked. But if you want to interact with the show, it's at WHW Monday on Twitter, at WHW Podcast on Instagram. And I, of course, am at Hey It's Conrad on most everything. Instagram is at Hey It's Conrad Thompson. But this time of year is the time of year where we're starting to think to myself, might need a little spring gear. Well, go get a new shirt, you simple bitch. Do you like food? Do you like light, you big motherfucker, you? All of this will make sense over at lowestrules.com. You can even get a bug tattoo. We got hoodies and t-shirts and tank tops and beach towels and one of those Yeti coolers, those Yeti style tumblers, but with all kinds of silly shit on there, even like ULI. Some of this is embarrassing shit you wouldn't want to wear in public, but that's what makes it fun. Other stuff is so fun that, well, you could wear it in public and everybody'd say, I don't know what that's about, but it's funny as shit. Yeah, it's lowestrules.com. How about the desperately out of time windbreaker? The no current stuff t-shirt, the tender and unselfish t-shirt. Lots of fun stuff over at lowestrules.com. And next week, Tony, we got a big show. You know, you spent 1 year famously with the WWF, just 1 year.
Right.
And that encompassed one really big WrestleMania. WrestleMania 5, featuring the Mega Powers colliding, Hulk Hogan challenging Randy Savage for the WWF World title, the Ultimate Warrior defending the Intercontinental Championship against Rick Rude, Bobby Heenan taking on the Red Rooster, and Bruce is in there as Brother Love, hanging out with Roddy Piper and Morton Downey Jr. Next week, it's going to be a long show. We're watching WrestleMania 5. We're going to have to pack a lunch for that. We might have to take a real life intermission, maybe do some dick measuring contests or what have you. But I love talking about WrestleMania 5. And that was the biggest WrestleMania in history at that point. And you got to be a part of the train.
You're going to see a couple of parts, and I'll point them out to you, where I did some on cameras that Vince was very disappointed with.
Really?
Yeah. So, anyway.
Way to bring us down, Tony.
I just knew he was he was kind to me because I was new, but I knew he was disappointed in the work that I did.
Well, we're not disappointed in the work that you did here today, Tony. It's been a while since we got to sit down. I'm glad we got to get the band back together. I'm glad everybody was able to join us in the group chat and ride alongside us. And I hope Lois is doing better. And I can't stress this enough. If you're on the fence and maybe you just like the old stuff and you don't really watch the current stuff, I encourage you, watch Dynamite tonight. And I know that sounds like I'm shilling hard, but I'm shilling hard as a wrestling fan who had the privilege of being at Triple Mania last year. And I got a much greater appreciation for Lucha Libre. And I had a much greater appreciation for Vikingo. It's one thing to hear about it. It's another thing to see it. He is a dynamic performer. You've probably never seen anything like him. And he's taking on a guy who most people believe is one of, if not the best wrestler in the world in Kenny Omega. And it's happening tonight on free TV. You don't have to open up your wallet for this. You don't have to go find it on a special app. Just turn on the Turner station and there's Kenny Omega and Vikingo, two of the very best in the world. And it's on free TV. And I know there's tribalism in wrestling and people want to argue, but it's not as good as this. And I don't like it as well as that. Hey buddy, remember when you were just a fan of stuff? Remember when you just liked cool shit? You're going to see some cool shit tonight. And I don't give a shit what the quarter hour is. And I don't care about what the storyline is on the other show. All that's great and important. And it's something for another time. If you want to see something different, something new, something fun, something special, it's happening tonight and it's free. Kenny Omega, Vikingo. I can't wait, Tony.
And remember when you were just a wrestling fan and was not a guy that put out like 500 bots? How about that? Wasn't that great?
Well, listen, I don't care about any of that. I don't know about any of that. I just know this is a special show. It's a special program tonight. And listen, for a lot of people, you're going to say, well, I don't get it. Then it wasn't for you. That's okay. But if you're a Lucha Libre fan, if you're a fan of international wrestling, if you're a fan of these one-off attractions, because listen, the reality is we don't know how all of this looks a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. But you're going to see two of the very best at their very best tonight on free TV. I encourage you to check it out. Nobody asked me to say that. Tony didn't know I was going to say this. It's the way I feel as a wrestling fan. This is special. And I hate that there's this debate online about how significant it is and how they should have built and developed. And guys, what does it matter? Enjoy two of the best wrestlers doing their thing on free TV tonight. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, as we say here in the South. It's going to be something special. I can't wait to see it, Tony, but right now it looks like it's about that time.
And ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the ring is Dave Silva, and he's got a baseball bat in his hand, and he is going to attack Adam DeMoy from behind with a baseball bat, and he pulls the bat around the throat of Adam DeMoy, and he's choking him out. And all the fans, all 10,000 fans are standing up and applauding. And we also see that Coach Rosie's applauding. And we also see that Josh Fields is applauding. And we see, oh my, Denovius Mack, he's applauding. And everybody is standing up. Rajiv says yes. They all want to see him choke Adam DeMoy out. And why not? It's great TV. We're desperately out of time. We'll see you next week on What Happened When. We come to you each and every Wednesday on Cumulus Westwood One. But Mondays, we come to you ad-free exclusively on
Patreon, patreon.com/WHW Monday. And of course, adfreeshows.com.
Hey guys, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley here, and I need to call a quick timeout, a brief timeout, because I wanted to tell your listeners what I have been telling Foley is Pod listeners for a while now about all the cool things happening over on adfreeshows.com.
A brand new series has arrived on Ad Free Shows. Top of the Card unpacks everything you need to know in the wrestling trading card space. And we're starting with the granddaddy of them all, the 1982 Wrestling All-Stars Series A set.
Now, this set was not exclusive to any one territory at the time, as we were still right at the tail end of the territory era of professional wrestling. So it was basically a who's who in professional wrestling, with card number 1 being Andre the Giant. Others included in the set include Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Ted DiBiase, and others.
20 years ago, Eric took on Stone Cold in the main event on Raw, but the real main event was the confrontation that happened backstage before the show.
Now, the next week, I'm sitting in this chair, and that same guy, I don't think I had said a word to him that day. I don't think I had seen Rick up until the point he came through that door. And he's, getting me, just telling me to get up, get out of the chair. And he's so pissed off, he's bleeding. I'm on the phone, and he's got blood running down his chin because he bit his lip. He was so mad, he bit the inside of his mouth.
He's got blood on a backstage confrontation.
I hadn't even gotten out of the chair yet.
Ad-free shows members got to sit shotgun alongside Kevin Nash and Click This co-host Sean Oliver as they watch back some of the worst matches in history. None more so than the Yeti.
Randy, now the mummy is not Frankenstein. You don't walk with your arms straight out
with the arms out, right? And a Yeti is also not a mummy, but I don't know. Was this Jim Hurd? Who was here? Well, whose brainchild was this?
Who gives a fuck?
That's just a small taste, a sampling, if you will, of what we have waiting for you. With 4 levels to choose from. 4. See for yourself why ad-free shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now, right now, at adfreeshows.com. Yeah.